Hi everyone, it's Miss O'Donnell. So today I want to talk about the project. So you may be aware that in order to get credit for geometry, there's two things you have to do. One, you have to complete 50% of your assignments, which means you're doing at least two of the four assignments each week. And the second part is called the culminating activity. For geometry, it's going to be this architecture project. So I gave you a copy of the instructions. I'm just going to go through them and tell you exactly what I'm going to expect from this project. So the purpose of it is to apply coordinate geometry concepts to real world architecture design. So we're starting our new standard that's called coordinate geometry. We're not going to have too much time to get into as much depth as I would like just because of the whole transition to online learning and losing Wednesdays. So we're going to be working on this project as I teach you coordinate geometry. So, the task for your project is to think of a service that is needed in your community. So, I want you to think about where you live. It's probably Avondale. Think about something that you wish existed in Avondale. So, some examples could be like a youth center, a shop that sells your favorite products, an animal hospital, like a recycling unit, anything that's important to you that we don't have, you can create. So, it can be any store, shop, organization that you would like to see in your neighborhood. Once you've decided on the type of service you want to provide, you're going to design your building's two-dimensional front. So you're going to use at least two different geometric shapes. Your choices are a square, a rectangle, a parallelogram, an equilateral triangle, an isosceles triangle, or a scalene triangle. So you need to pick two different shapes. So one example, like the one I'm going to show you, is a parallelogram building with an isosceles triangle roof. Or you could have like a square building with a rectangle door. You could have a triangle building with a square door. Any way that you want to have two different shapes. So you can have a building and then like a roof, or a building and a door or a window, or even like a chimney. Any way you want to design, but it has to be two different shapes. So we're going to complete this in 4 steps, and it's going to count as your culminating activity, which means you must complete it in order to receive credit for geometry. So you have to get at least a 1. Basically, if you do the project and have all the parts, you're going to get at least a 1. So basically, you have to do it and you'll get credit for the class. If you don't do it, you're not going to get credit for the class. So, step 1, which we're going to do on Monday, you're going to describe your service and explain why you chose this service. Step 2 is going to be the design. So, we're going to actually draw it using a program called Desmos, and you're going to plot your points to create the design of your project. Step 3 is going to be the proof. So I'm going to teach you, it says prove using coordinate geometry that your shapes have the defined qualities using distances and slopes. So I'm going to teach you how to find distance and how to find slope, and then you're going to prove it for your specific shape. So I'm going to teach you how to do it, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to prove. And then step 4 is going to be the slideshow. So how we usually do this project is on a poster board, where I would give you a poster board, you would work during class and do this project. But since we're not in class, we're going to have you do it in a slideshow in Google Slides, which I'm going to give you a template for and explain exactly what you need. So right now, this might seem like a lot. I absolutely do not want you to go and start this project right now. I'm going to break it down step by step for you, give you a lot of video tutorials, and help you and tell you exactly when you should be doing each part. You are allowed to go ahead of me, but I recommend staying on pace and just doing each part as I show you it. So what I'm going to do now is show you an example that I made, so you kind of have in your mind what you're going to be working towards, and then I'm going to tell you what your first task is going to be. So here's my project. Miss O'Donnell's architecture project with my period. Obviously, I'm not in period 7. All right, so part 1 is the service. So the service that I chose is a dog study park. And why did I choose this service? Because I would like to have a fun place to do my work. I can bring my dog and I can play with the dogs during my study breaks. This would motivate me to want to do my work and also give my dog a fun place to hang out while I work. So the reason why I want this is because there's not really a dog park or a really fun study area where I live. And so I want to create this in my town. So part 2 is the design. So the shapes that I chose was a parallelogram and an isosceles triangle. So I made this on Desmos, which I will show you step by step how to go about doing that. That'll be next week. So basically, here's my parallelogram down here. It's a building. And then the roof is going to be an isosceles triangle. So here's my two shapes. I plotted all the points. So 4, 0, right? This point right here is 4, 0. Then I have 12, 0, 14, 4, and 6, 4. That's my parallelogram. Then I have 6, 4, 14, 4, and 10, 10 is my triangle. So I plotted my points on my coordinate plane. Then becomes the proof part. So this is me proving the slope of my first shape. So I'm proving the slopes of my parallelogram, which again, I'm going to teach you how to find slope. But I proved that this was a parallelogram because the opposite sides are parallel and adjacent sides are not perpendicular, which will make a lot more sense after I teach it. So I do my proofs. I have my proof of my second shape, which was my triangle. Then I did the distance formula. You'll notice I did my work on paper and I just uploaded it right into the slideshow. I'm going to give you a couple different options for that. And then the distance of my second shape. And that's the whole thing. Here's a cute little picture of what my study dog park's going to look like. So your task for today is just to pick your shape. So I picked a parallelogram and an isosceles triangle. I want you to pick two of these shapes, any two. So you can pick a square and a rectangle. You can pick a rectangle and a scalene triangle. Here's an example of what they look like. So a square is a quadrilateral with 4 equal sides. Rectangles have opposite sides that are equal. Parallelograms, like a slanted rectangle. Then we have our different triangles. Isosceles has 2 equal sides. Equilateral has all 3 equal sides, and scalene has no equal sides. So if you are looking for which ones are going to be the best ones for you, these 3 are going to be the easiest. So the square, the rectangle, and the isosceles triangle. If you're looking for it to be a little bit easier, I would pick a combination of those 3. The other 3 are not going to be too much harder, but I think they look a little cooler. That's why I chose a parallelogram. Your task for today on your exit ticket is you're going to pick 2 different shapes. So they have to be different. You can't pick 2 rectangles or 2 equilateral triangles. Okay. And then for Monday, so what I want you to be doing over the weekend and on Monday is thinking about what service you want and why. So your exit ticket on Monday is going to be to tell me what your service is and why. So I want your service to be original. So if everybody comes to me saying that they're going to do a dog study park, obviously that's not an original idea. So I want you to come up, think about something that you wish you had, like maybe even something that is school related or like outside of school. It could be like a store or like a program, anything you can think of that you wish you had in your town, and then just explain to me why. And your reason why can't just be because it's cool. Like you have to have some sort of reason why. Okay, so today you're picking your 2 shapes. Monday, we're going to talk about our service, and then we will dive into our project, learn about slope and distances. And this is going to bring us all the way to about the second to last week of school. So we're going to be doing this for a while. Make sure that you try to stay on task as much as possible, because if you start to fall behind, it's going to pile up on you. And this project is your culminating activity. So it's acting like your EOCA, which we did drop from 20%, but it's still going to be worth 10% of your final grade. So it's really important that you do well on it. And if you do it step by step, you look at all the feedback I give you, I think that you guys are going to do a really great job. So make sure you go on and do your exit ticket. That's all I got for you. Here's a last little look at my dog study park.